This panel is Community Media and the Arab Spring. It's been organised in collaboration with the CMFE by AMARC, the World Association of Community Radio Broadcasters, and International Media Support. AMARC, as I think you know, is an international organisation supporting communication rights and community broadcasting with members in 130 countries worldwide. With IMS, AMARC has been working actively in the Middle East and North Africa, supporting new community media initiatives in the internet and on the air. My name's Steve Buckley. I've had the privilege of serving as a board member of AMARC since 1992, and including 8 years as the association's president. I've recently completed my term of office, but continue as an activist to support the work of the organisation and of the community media movement worldwide. Now, before I introduce the panellists that we have with us here today, I want to make just a few contextual observations. 2011 has been an extraordinary year in the Arab world, and it's fitting that we should be holding this panel in Cyprus, a country itself that represents a crossroads in the Mediterranean. This is an opportunity to bring together the experiences of the community media movement in Europe, represented through the CMFE, and the nascent community media movement that we're seeing emerge across the Arab world. Communication is a political act, and in the years preceding the Arab Spring, the genesis of this extraordinary movement, we've seen some communicative acts of extraordinary courage. And there are communicative acts at the heart of each of the revolutions that people have experienced in this region over the last 12 months. Mohamed Bouazizi of Tunisia, when he set himself alight in December last year, he didn't do so in private. He did so in front of the headquarters of the municipality of Sidi Bouzid. He arranged for a friend to video him. It was put on the internet, and it went viral. That was one of the sparks of the Tunisian revolution, which has had such a domino effect across the region. The previous summer, a young videographer by the name of Khaled Said died in prison after taking videos of police corruption. A website was set up, rather a Facebook site, saying, "We are all Khaled Said." By January, it had attracted 750,000 friends. It was one of the spaces within which the 25th of January revolution in Egypt was organised. Shortly after the uprising in Benghazi, on the 21st of February, a young man called Mohamed Nabous put together, with a few wires on a computer, an internet connection and a live video stream by which he was able to demonstrate to the world what was going on in the streets of Benghazi. The uprising of the people, the marches, the chanting. He simply put a webcam out of the window and organised an account on the live stream platform. Without his action, it's unlikely the world would have acted as quickly as they did to the situation in Libya, or even have known about the details. I saw him on the 21st of February through that video stream. He was not an experienced media producer, it was perfectly clear, but he'd worked out the technology. He was still wiring things up. But within 2 days, international news agencies, the BBC, Agence France-Presse, CNN, were trying to connect with him on the chat space that ran alongside the live stream. He died a month later. He was out reporting with his mobile phone, on the back of a truck with Benghazi rebels, just as Gaddafi's troops arrived in Benghazi, and he was shot in the neck. He's considered in Benghazi one of the foremost martyrs of the revolution, but we can also consider him a people's media activist. This, I think, gives us some indication of the importance and the context of the role of social media and community media in the revolutions of the Arab Spring, and their continuing role in the period of transition that clearly follows. And the campaigns for recognition of and support for an emergent community media sector are becoming one of the key demands of democracy activists who are seeking a free media environment as well as a more open and democratic society. Now let me come to the panelists, because I think we've got a great panel here today. And some of the people are unfortunately not physically with us, but we are going to try to connect with them via Skype during the course of this session. I will just go through the panelists and give you a brief introduction to each of them, and then we'll go into their presentations. First of all, on my far right, Fahem Boukadous is a Tunisian journalist. He's director of the Centre de Tunis pour la Liberté de Presse, and he's now general manager at Radio South Al-Malachem, which means Voice of the Mind, in Gafsa. In January 2010, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison for promoting activist journalism. He was released 5 days after the fall of the dictator in January. Francesco Diasio, on my left, is regional coordinator of AMARC Europe. He's been active with us in the IFEX Tunisia monitoring group, and since the Tunisian revolution has been providing specialist support to new community media initiatives in Tunisia. Ahmed Sami is director of the Cairo-based Andalus Institute for Tolerance and Anti-Violence Studies. He's the founder of Radio Horietna since 2007, I think, which means Our Freedom Radio, Egypt's first internet radio station. Sausan Zaida, who is unable to be with us for health reasons, but we will try to connect by Skype, is a vice president of the board of AMARC International with specific responsibility for the region of the Middle East and North Africa. She's also a producer of Eye on the Media, a program on Radio Al Balad, community radio station in Jordan. And she should be joining us from Amman. Lina Chawaf is founder and program manager of Radio Arabesque. Lina's on my second right here. She's from Syria, but has come to us from Canada this week, where she's holding out, I think. Radio Arabesque is the first private radio station to be licensed in Syria and has been attempting to push the boundaries in that country. Mohammed Abu Jana, who's not with us here today, but again we will try to connect by Skype, is founder and chief executive of Shabab Libya FM. He became involved in media work after the uprising in Benghazi, when he joined Libya Al-Hurra Radio, that's Free Libya Radio, before deciding to set up his own station for young people in Benghazi. Further along on the table, Daoud Koutab is an award-winning Palestinian journalist and community media activist. He's founder of Community Media Network based in Amman, which operates Radio Al Balad and the Ammanet website. And he's also general manager of Pen Media, a Palestinian media NGO based in Ramallah. And finally, on my left, Emmanuel Bouterin is deputy president of AMARC, and he's also president of the French Syndicat National des Radio Libres. We're going to go country by country: Tunisia, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Libya. Not quite in the order of the revolutions, but I don't want to take 2 Skype calls in succession. We'll need to do a little bit of technical setup between them. Then Daoud is going to make some observations from a regional perspective, and Emmanuel will respond and comment before we open to the floor. I'm going to ask all of our panelists to be disciplined with time in order that we've got good time for discussion afterwards. But respect that this is quite a large panel, so it will take us some time to get through the presentations. So without further ado, let's go straight into the presentations about Tunisia. And I'm going to ask Fahem and then Francesco to speak on the Tunisian perspective. Fahem.
Hello. كنا عرضنا قبل قليل مقاطع لفيديو قد يخال البعض أنها ترجع إلى أحداث ديسمبر وجانفي أحداث الثورة التونسية.
What you saw on the video, some might think it happened this year in December or January.
ولكنها ترجع إلى سنة 2008. وقد كان هذا الاختيار لسبب سياسي ولسبب آخر إعلامي يتعلق بالإعلام وبوضعية الإعلام الجمعياتي خصوصاً.
We chose that for 2 reasons, a political one and a media one. We wanted to talk to you about the media situation.
فيما هو سياسي أن الثورة التونسية لم تأتي من فراغ. وإنما جاءت أساساً كما يعتبرها الملاحظون من أحداث الحوض المنجمي في الجنوب التونسي التي انطلقت سنة 2008.
What you saw, what the political reason is that we wanted to let you know that what happened in Tunisia did not come from a vacuum. It happened from the events of 2008 regarding the mines in that area.
ففي جانفي 2008 في الجنوب التونسي انطلقت تحركات بسيطة ضد نتائج مناظرة لانتداب أعوان بشركة فوسفات قفصة تحولت إلى تحركات بآلاف الأشخاص في 4 مناطق من الحوض المنجمي للمطالبة بالشغل وبالعدالة الاجتماعية.
What happened was, I think elections, debate, in a company, a phosphate company, and what happened as a disagreement over the results turned into a big demonstration in which thousands participated.
وأهمية تلك التحركات أنها استمرت ل6 أشهر متواصلة في ظل نظام ديكتاتوري وكانت الأطول في تاريخ المنطقة العربية.
What is unique is that the protest continued for 6 months under a dictatorship, which is the longest that any kind of protest in the region has happened.
وقد اعتبرها العديد من الملاحظين في تونس والعالم أنها كانت شرارة الثورة لأنها كسرت حاجز الخوف النهائي عند التونسيين.
What many believe is the importance of these events in 2008 is that it was the real igniter of what we saw later because it broke the barrier of fear that people had.
في تلك الفترة اعتبر أن النظام قد انتهى وأن أسابيع أو أشهر ستقضي عليه.
At that time we thought the regime was over and would be over in weeks or months.
تناولت الصور أيضا حملت مضامين إعلامية.
I want to talk to you about media issues related to those protests.
فالتغطية الوحيدة التي تمت لتلك الأحداث كانت تغطية لقناة فضائية جمعياتية.
The only media coverage was the coverage of a cooperative satellite broadcast.
ففي الوقت الذي لم تصل فيه قنوات فضائية مشهورة ولم تصل وكالات أنباء ولم يصل أي صحافي إلى تلك المنطقة غطت قناة الحوار التونسي تلك الأحداث.
The station called Tunisian Dialogue, which was the only station, no journalists, no other media appeared to cover those events.
في سنة 2006 كنا مجموعة صغيرة من الصحفيين قررنا إنشاء تلك القناة.
This station was established in 2006 and I and a number of journalists established that.
وكان الأمر يتعلق بكراء بعض ساعات البث على قناة أركواريس تي في الإيطالية.
We purchased a few hours of time on an Italian station.
وكنا نشتغل بشكل تطوعي أي أن كل الصحفيين لم يكن يتلقون رواتب.
All of us worked on a voluntary basis.
قد أكون سعيدا أو حزينا أن أقول أنني كنت الصحفي الوحيد الذي كان على أرض ميدان تلك الأحداث وغطاها طيلة 6 أشهر متواصلة.
I'm not sure if I want to say I'm sad or happy, but I was the only journalist for months that was covering those events.
حتى أن جميع القنوات الفضائية في العالم BBC وCNN والجزيرة قد أخذت كل ما صورناه طيلة 6 أشهر.
For those 6 months, the international stations like BBC and CNN took our coverage for those periods.
لكن المهم أن تلك التغطية لم تكن جهدا صحفيا فقط، بل أن المواطنين على أرض الميدان كل الشباب الذي تحرك هو الذي كان يصور تلك الأحداث التي كنا نغطيها.
The interesting thing for this group is that this was not an effort of one person. There was a lot of people who were volunteering to work with us.
عندما بدأت التغطية كنت كتبت مقال في أحد الصحف قلت أنه سنة 2008 تمت ولادة الإعلام الشعبي.
I wrote an article in that time in 2008 in which I said that 2008 is the time when community media was born in Tunisia.
حيث المواطن الذي يناضل من أجل مطالب عادلة هو الذي يصنع إعلامه الشخصي.
I argued that the person who fights for just cause is also the creator of media.
لقد كان الفقراء والمهمشون والعاطلون عن العمل والنساء الريفيات هم الذين يصنعون إعلامهم.
it was the poor and the women in the areas outside the capital that created this media.
وإذا كانت أحداث الحوض المنجمي سنة 2008 هي التي كانت السبب الحقيقي في سقوط نظام بن علي، فإن الإعلام الشعبي الذي ولد سنة 2008 هو الذي خلق ثورة الفيسبوك سنة 2010.
We believe that if it was the events of the mind that eventually brought down Ben Ali, we also believe that it was the media, the community media that was born then, is what brought about the Facebook media explosion in 2010.
إن مئات مقاطع الفيديو التي نشرت على قناة الحوار التونسي قد ألهمت الشباب التونسي في سنة 2010 إلى أن يبث آلاف المقاطع لتشجع التونسيين للخروج إلى الشارع والثورة على نظام بن علي.
We believe the hundreds of video clips that were broadcast on that small Italian station by the Tunisian dialogue is what inspired thousands of Tunisians in 2010 to broadcast tens of thousands of clips on Facebook and other Twitter accounts.
حتى أن الجنرال بن علي ليلة وحيدة قبل سقوطه قد خطب معلنا أن لا رقابة على الإنترنت بعد الآن.
Ben Ali, before his fall, the day before his fall, made an announcement to appease the people, saying there is no more censorship on the internet from now on.
لم يكن الأمر هدية من بن علي، بل كان نتيجة نضالات متواصلة للشباب التونسي.
This was no present from Ben Ali. It was the result of the struggle of courageous Tunisian youth.
هذا الشباب الذي تحدى آلة الحظر الغبية بوسائل إلكترونية مبتدعة.
These people confronted the regime with its ugliness with creative use of the technology.
وتمكن من إيصال صوت المواطن التونسي البسيط